the first person to try to woo me.
Listen.
Like, after him, no other guy like tried to like woo me, but this was kind of, I guess they're both young, so it's like, okay, give me, at first I was like, no, I don't know if I want to date you. It was like, give me 3 days.
Not when you hold me.
I can be attracted to people not for their looks, but like for who they are.
That's important.
I also learned that if somebody really likes you, then they will not like try to woo you, but they'll help you become a better person.
Not when you.
This girl, there was a female friend I had, and I remember we were like laying in the same bed, and she was talking about like lesbian sex, and the entire time I was
Was
just
she
like,
lesbian?
no, she wasn't. She was totally straight, I think. But I was just like, I wonder if I should just. But you know, it's sort of like they're your friend, and you're just like, if I make a move, then it might get weird. And later, I did kind of make a move, and it got super
Oh,
weird.
you actually made a move.
I did. And her fiance at the time was there, and he got weirded out, and then she got weirded out, then I got weirded out. So,
But you were the last one to get weirded out.
yeah. All these people that I feel the most sort of like, not just sexual attraction, but just overall attraction to, they're always in some way unavailable. You know, female, heterosexual, heterosexual-ish. Ish. Heteroflexible, I think that's the word. Yeah, so it's sort of like, oh, that's just sort of the destiny that we have in this life, I guess. But yeah, for me, the lessons that I've learned from romantic relationships, like, unlike Jeannie, like, I've actually have had men change and alter the course of my life, like big dramatic relationships. And there have been actually maybe about 4. But I would say, I'll talk about the most recent relationship that totally changed my life.
Ooh, it's windy.
Wow, okay. I know, but it feels like we're in some sort of
Got dust
White
in my
Snake
eyes.
video. No? The most recent man who changed the course of my life this is about a year and a half ago, and we'll call him Taco. I've talked about him I think in our first mukbang. We ended up meeting, and in person Taco was very attractive, like just physically attractive. And he had like a nice boyish manner about him that I thought was very attractive as well. But he's one of those people where everything's great until he opens his mouth. You know, then it's just, everything he says is so abrasive.
Do you open his mouth often?
Constantly. I talked about this guy Taco, and it's like this guy that I met on Tinder. I remember the day I was supposed to meet him, I was just like, I was always the one who was saying, oh, let's just meet up. Like, he wanted to talk on the phone and actually get to know me, and I was just like, no, let's meet up. So we met up at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was a little bit late. I was a lot late, and he waited for me. And I remember when I first saw him, I was like, he is really attractive. And so then we went and we ate, and like a couple hours later we went to a bar. But I noticed that along the way, like, he was very attractive, but just his personality was disgusting. Like, I remember thinking like, wow, I just need to get out of here. Like, he was just so, everything about him just pointed to like narcissist / immature pickup artist. Yes, pickup artist. Like, we were at this bar after we went to this place, like it was like 7 or 8 o'clock, and like he just kept taking pictures of himself, like selfies. And he was like hitting on the bartender chick. So she was looking at me while he was hitting on her, and she was just like, okay, thank you for saying nice things to me, guy who's obviously on a date, and your date is right there. And he just kept talking to everybody else except me, and I was just like, yeah. I really started looking at this exit door, and then I was just like, oh, boring. And so then I started to look on my phone, just scrolling through it. And that's when he was just like, oh, she's not paying attention to me. And I didn't know this, but I think I mentioned this in the video. Like, I use reverse pickup artist. on him, and that's the reason why he was all of a sudden like very like into me. But anyways, we got drunk, and then we went to like a love motel, and for the next 6 or 7 hours we just straight up had sex. Like it was
6 hours?
It was amazing. He actually knew how to like, it sounds so cheesy, but he kind of knew how to make love, but like really hot, sexy, non-missionary love, and it was like kind of kinky as well, and it was just like all the points that I really love in sex, he like hit them. Like, like it was amazing, right? And then 6-7 hours later, we got up, and we like went our separate ways and stuff, and then I was just like, oh, I'll probably never talk to him again. But then he texted me later, and then we met up again. But the next time we met up, he was just such a fucking asshole, and then I just basically like humiliated him in front of all his friends, because I just couldn't. I think for me, I can be passive aggressive in a lot of ways, and instead of pulling him to the side and being like, you're trash, bye, I think I just needed to have like that power trip over him, and he wasn't having any of it, right? So then after that, he started to become like a huge dick to me, like a bigger dick than he actually was. Point is that even though he was a complete dick, his personality was trash. I think I was so dickmatized. I was straight up dickmatized by this guy. And because I was dickmatized, I like was obsessed with this guy, and I almost had this feeling too that he was obsessed with me. Like there was this energy, even like over text, and you know, you can kind of tell, of both of us like trying to be sort of like too cool for school, and yet both of us actually longing to make a connection. My connection was I wanted to have sex with him again and again and again and again. And I think for him, he straight up told me in our date that he was looking for like a wifey. So I think he was looking for like a real emotional connection. Whatever the case, like for like 2 months, I remember just being like, oh, so obsessed, so obsessed, so obsessed. But of course I didn't text him or like contact him in any way, because like I was just like, I'm gonna be a badass chick. But during that time, I started to like really get into energy work, because I was so obsessed, and I was like, this isn't normal.
Were you purely obsessed because you wanted to sleep with him again? Like, what was it about him that like really that made you so obsessed? If sex was the only
I think
connection.
the person he was when we were having sex is very different from who he was when we weren't.
Mm-hmm.
So while we were having sex, he was this vulnerable, not such a dick, and that's what I wanted to go back to. But I think also what I realized was that I'm obsessed with this guy, and I don't think it's normal, in that that's when I start to think about metaphysical things. Like, I almost feel as though there's this energy, like he has this invisible dark hand that's pulling at my energy, right? I felt like almost in a way that he had put like a spell on me or something like that, like some sort of magic, or, you know, like for the first time in my life, I really understood, you know, those old blues songs.
I put a spell on you. Because you're mine.
I was just like, oh, okay, like people get spellbound, whatever. You know, there's phrases about witchcraft and you've bewitched me and stuff. And I was just like, oh, okay, that's just a beautiful poetic way of saying things. No. At this point, I was just like, I truly feel as though there's some sort of black magic put on me. I just couldn't get over this dude. And that's when I started to look into stuff, and I started looking into chakras, and then from chakras, I got into like, you know, chakras, then like into like non-dual sort of philosophy, then like into like witchcraft stuff. So it's because of this dick who had a great dick that I became like a flat out loud and proud witch. Like without that guy, I would have, I don't know what I would have been, but I don't think I would have been a witch.
Listen. Slowly. Not when you